Good morning, traders. I am Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Thursday, July 11th. Inflation data is on tap today as Wall Street is coming off a big bump in markets yesterday. During regular trading, the Dow popped 429 points, or more than 1%. The Nasdaq climbed 219 points, or 1.18%. The S&P 500 advanced 56 points, or just more than 1%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down about 1/10 of 1%, 0.09%. Yeah, we're weakening going into that key inflation report, which is due out before the opening bell. I don't think it's going to be a positive catalyst. I think, it's going to be, come in as expected. And with with yesterday's big rally, I could see us having some weakness today. I mean, listen, we had earnings come out from Pepsi and Delta, and they're trading lower after their earnings releases. But Costco on there, they came out with, remember yesterday I mentioned that they had they're releasing their sales for June after the bell on Wednesday. Well, they came out, they were positive. But the key thing is they came out and they said that they're raising membership fees in September. They're going to be raising by $5, which, you look at Costco, it stock's up by, $21 already this morning. Pfizer, there's some positive news coming out on its weight loss drug. There's this NATO summit that's going on this week. And NATO apparently pledged $43 billion to aid Ukraine. There's talk of adding Ukraine to membership, putting them on a path to membership in NATO. That's kind of tough while they're, in a conflict with Russia. But the key here is that President Biden is going to be holding a press conference today after the NATO summit. It's going to be him alone. He's not going to have multiple world leaders on the stage with him, which is typical. Which is typical type of press briefings that he has. This is going to be him alone. So you're going to be able to see, is he able to stand on a seat? Is he able to kind of, react to questions? This is going to be like one of the key press briefings of this guy's presidency. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that later today. FTC, FTC is ready to prepare. They're preparing legal action against these farm benefit managers. That's not good. Let's take a look at what's going on overseas, specifically in Europe to start off. We're looking at the DAX. It's up 52 points, or 0.28%. We're looking at the FTSE. It's up 14 points, or 0.18%. And the CAC is up 25 points, or 0.33%. In Germany, hey, the consumer price index data, rose, 2.2% in June. Now, as compared to the May data, which came in at 2.4, that's actually positive. In London, the UK GDP came in at plus 0.4% for May after April's numbers, which showed no growth. So that's positive for London. In France, hey, man, I'm seeing positive activity in the luxury sector, and that's like tech in the US. When that luxury sector is hot, that market increases. We're looking over at Asia last night. Japan's Nikkei showed another night of impressive gains, up 392 points. That's 0.94%. That yen is trading at a 38-year low. That's really benefiting that Nikkei index, which is why you're seeing this market just take off. When they come up with their central bank meeting notes soon, they're going to be raising interest rates to get them more in line, and that's going to do some correction in that market. So I'm a little cautious as we get into that, we get closer to that Bank of Japan meeting. Hong Kong. Hong Kong, the Hang Seng market has just been getting hit lately. It's just been down day after day. But overnight, it jumped 360 points. That's over 2%, 2.06%. Listen, markets, the Hong Kong markets are expecting, some positive news out of China next week. And what happened recently was the Chinese regulators moved to restrict short selling, and they're curbing any quantitative trading programs. China jumped over 1% or 31 points. They got that third plum meeting next week, and they're going to be addressing these longstanding issues that are hindering growth, and they got to come up with something. So we're going to keep an eye on these Asian markets to continue to show growth through next week. That could be something positive. And then we're watching oil. We keep one eye on oil as always, and oil has just turned. I mean, it was trading slightly higher, was ticking higher all morning long. We were up about 0.2%, 0.3%. Well, now oil is flat to lower. I mean, you got WTI down 0.1% at $82.02 a barrel, whereas Brent's at $85.10 a barrel. Now, there's a host of near-term catalysts going on here. You got today's CPI release, you got tomorrow's PPI data coming out, and you got next week's meeting in China, and then you got the you get these hostilities are escalating in the Middle East, and that's cause for oil prices to go up. But it's all about the CPI release today, so we got to keep an eye on that. And if the market falls, you're going to see oil come down a little bit today. So, but that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
And Bill, the week did sort of start off slow, but now we can tell from your opening there that really action across the board is picking up. We both mentioned that inflation data that investors will be watching this morning. The other area that's picking up is earnings action. Really today we start to dive into some key earnings reports, some big names, and then it picks up tomorrow, Friday. So give us a rundown of what we should be watching when it comes to earnings action.
Well, I mean, last night we had the WD-40, ticker WDFC, William David Frank Charlie. They beat by 8 cents on higher revenue. You look at that stock this morning, and it's just running. WDFC is up 10.5% this morning. AZZ, they beat by 16 cents on higher revenue. Delta, you look at this morning, Delta Airlines, ticker DAL. I mean, I was cautious on this one. I don't really love the airlines. I mean, I like the trend, but I don't like the airlines as a business because there's too many variables. But Delta missed by 36 cents on higher revenue. You look at the stock; it's down over 9% this morning. And then PepsiCo, ticker PEP, Paul Edward Paul. I told you I was cautious on PepsiCo. They were able to deliver a beat. They delivered a beat of 12 cents, but it was done on lower revenue, and that stock is down 1.74% this morning. The reason I was cautious. Now, upcoming, we got Citigroup coming out tomorrow morning. Their EPS is $1.40. Expected move is 3.11%. You got Wells Fargo, EPS is $1.27. Expected move is 4.12%. You got JP Morgan, EPS is $4.20. Expected move is 3.01%. I'm cautious on the banks. I mean, Wells Fargo is supposed to, be a good pick going into earnings, but I don't like the option volume. It kind of, turns me off. Citibank, okay. JP Morgan never seems to really pop after earnings. I've never really seems to be able to hold the gig with those gains after earnings, so I'm cautious on it. And Jamie Dimon's always kind of negative on this conference call, so that doesn't help. So, I'm a little wary when it comes to the banks tomorrow. I'm cautious. I'm not going to do anything with them. But that's what I have for you in terms of earnings update, Emily.
Bill, even though you are cautious, you're going to be able to see that information right as it comes out. You have an alert set up for earnings, so you can see all these reports as they hit the tape. The other type of report that you're watching and you can see as that data comes out are the economic events and reports, including that CPI print. We're going to be getting that later this morning and watching some other things when it comes to the economic front. So Bill, give us a rundown of the day's economic events.
Listen, the key report this morning is at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's when the CPI data comes out. Also at 8:30, we got the jobless claims. Yeah, the jobless claims is going to be important because if you heard Jerome Powell yesterday, he and the Fed are really concerned with the uptick in unemployment. This is what is going to create a problem for them. They want to achieve a soft landing, and they got to keep an eye on it. And this is why they're very likely to lower interest rates, a quarter point. It's not going to go. It's not going to go down as fast as it went up. I mean, remember when they were raising interest rates, they were doing it 3/4 of a point at a clip at every meeting. Now they're going to be lowering it like 25 basis points, but they're not going to be doing that at every meeting. They really want to see that inflation data, curtailing before they do anything. Now, the CPI report is forecasting a 3.1 annual percent, which would be the lowest in 5 months. So that would be positive. But we got to keep an eye on that. We're going to see how the market reacts when those numbers come out. But the jobless claims, that's going to be a key focus going forward as well. In terms of Fed speak, you got some interesting Fed speak this morning. We're going to be hearing from Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic. He's speaking at 11:30 a.m. And then at 1 p.m., we're going to be hearing from the new kid on the block, Alberto Masson. He's going to be speaking at 1 p.m. Eastern time today, Emily.
Bill, following that, and you're still keeping track of other types of news. You're keeping track of things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, other catalysts. You're also looking at stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks to keep track of any trends on the trading day. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just looking at my Dow stocks. I got 15 lower, 10 higher, the rest unchanged. Looking at my FANG stocks, I'm seeing a slight gain in Amazon. Everything else is trading lower, which kind of tells you the market, they're not no wide moves in any of these stocks, but it is kind of cautious going into the trading day. Let's talk Apple. That's like one of the big interesting stories this morning. Stocks down about 0.4%. But the EU accepted Apple's offer to open mobile payments to third parties behind its Apple Pay app. So, that is kind of technically positive because, they're not going to get fined from the EU. And, that is, tentatively good news. Amazon, they had that AWS summit yesterday where the focus was on generative AI. That was really the primary focus of the summit. Google, ticker GOOG, they're shelving their planned takeover interest in HubSpot. Meta, no real news on Meta. Citibank, Netflix earnings are out next week. Okay, now you look at Netflix and it's been just on a tear. I mean, it's up 45% this year, and Citibank comes out and I was like, listen, we're a little cautious into Netflix going into earnings as the stock's already up 45% this year. That makes sense to me. Tesla, Tesla's been on a tear. It's been up 11 days in a row, 11 consecutive days. Trading 264. It's up 0.3% this morning. That trend isn't going to last forever. I mean, they do have that August 8th big announcement coming out, but sooner or later, Tesla's going to start to weaken. At 264. I mean, it could, we could see additional gains, but there comes a point where you want to start thinking, about selling your shares of Tesla if you own any. Let's talk Dow Jones 30 stocks, UNH, United Healthcare. This stock's a beast, UNH, but it's down, about 0.4% this morning because they're one of the names. When the FTC is suing the three largest benefit companies over their tactics to negotiate drug prices, specifically for insulin, that's not good. And the FTC, they're going after Cigna, they're going after CVS, they're going after UNH. I mean, these stocks are going to be weaker because of it. But UNH is a beast, but there could be it has room to move lower. That's for sure. It has room to move lower, by about 20 points. So we got to keep an eye on that. Travelers Group 3M seeing some positive action, news action this morning. Price targets are being raised. McDonald's trading higher, but there's weakness in the fast food stocks lately. But McDonald's has moved down from 290 down to 250. I'm still cautious on the stock myself. Merger news: Johnson & Johnson, J&J, they completed their acquisition of Yellow Jersey Therapeutics. You're looking at Johnson & Johnson, it's up slightly this morning. In terms of guidance news, AZZ, They backed their full year 2025 EPS of $4.50 to $5. Street estimates $4.88, right in the middle. That's pretty good. WD-40 reaffirms their 2024 EPS view of $5 to $5.30. Street estimates $5.23. That's acceptable. Delta Airlines, they see Q3 EPS coming in $1.70 to $2. The street estimates at $2.06. Ooh, too high. PepsiCo, ticker PEP. They see full year 2024 EPS coming in at least $8.15. Street estimates at $8.15. Okay, that's why you're only seeing Pepsi down 2% this morning. In terms of shareholder events going on this morning, Excel Therapeutics, Excel Technologies, they're holding an investors event today. DuPont, they're all presenting today at the SemCon West event that's going on today. Buyback news, Skillsoft, SKIL, they announced a 10 million share repurchasing agreement. In terms of catalyst calls, Citibank opened up 30-day positive catalyst call on TNDM, Tom, Nancy, David, Michael, and ISRG. India Sam, Richard Grace. That ISRG could be interesting to watch. CoStar, ticker CSGP. Charlie, Sam, Grace, Paul, JP Morgan added it to its positive catalyst watch list. Ticker CSGP, CoStar Group. That's what I have for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us today?
I got to go with Pfizer, ticker PFE, Paul Frank Edward. I mean, their weight loss drug news is big. Remember, they have an oral. This is the pill. It's not a shot. You look at the other guys, they have a shot that you take, once a week. But with Pfizer, it's a pill, and people would much rather be taking pills. So you look at the other weight loss drugs, and after like a year or so being on the Wegovy and Ozempic, whatever, you're off of it within sight of a year because you don't like taking the shots. But a pill is different. That could be that's much easier. And it could really have bigger legs. So the fact that they identified and selected a preferred formulation for its one pill a day obesity pill, that's big news. And that's hot. You look at yesterday's call volume, and it was 79,238 versus 25,940. It's 3-1. Open interest is negative. I mean, but that's 1,336 versus 1,424. But that was before the news. So I mean, I'm positive on this news. Major brokers, are neutral on the stock up until this, but I think this could be a game changer. I want to get in 28.40, 28.30, somewhere around there. I don't know if it's going to hit that. I gotta wait. We got that CPI data coming out, but I there are certain sectors that scare me today. I'm like, I don't want to be long the tech stocks. I don't want to be long some of the consumer names. They kind of scare me on a day like today. Oil is a little bit better, but the drug stocks, healthcare it's not going to be positive on all of them because that FTC stuff, but this Pfizer news could be very interesting. So I'm looking for Pfizer. I'm throwing a price target out there, 28.40 ish, and I'm hoping that you see some weakness after that CPI release that'll allow you to get in at a discount, because I think it has the ability to run up at least 1% from there. But that's my pick of the day. Pfizer, ticker PFE, Paul Frank Edward, Emily.
Pfizer, it is today. Again, trading off that news, looking for that entry point, putting the pieces of the puzzle together with that one. And coming up, we're going to do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day. You heard it mentioned earlier in the show, so we're going to do a recap on that. So stick with us. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Gold futures rise as market positions itself for the CPI data. Makes sense. GSK, GlaxoSmithKline Beckham begins shipping doses of its flu vaccines in the U.S. ChargePoint, CHPT, appointed a new CFO. Frontier Communications receives $15 million in grant funding from Robin. I don't know what Robin. Morgan Stanley cut 2 semiconductor stocks as it adopts mid-upcycle review. VKTX, Viking, Victor Kilo Tom X-ray option volume were really elevated yesterday, and the implied volatility increased three points. Wow. Biogen, ticker BIIB, they announced that Hong Kong has approved its drug to treat Alzheimer's disease. Okay. PriceSmart, PSMT, they announced that they got 54 warehouse clubs in operation as of May 31. That's up like 4 from last year. Amazon, Comcast, Warner Brothers, Walt Disney, they all got the deal with the NBA for broadcasting rights. Jeffries is positive on Warner Brothers. Interesting. Citibank got fined $136 million for insufficient progress in fixing data management issues identified in 2020 that required the bank to demonstrate that it was putting enough resources towards those efforts. Yeah, banks always get fined by the by regulators. That's why the regulators are in business. Novo Nordisk, Bernie Sanders, senator, expressed confidence that the company can be convinced to cut its prices of its Ozempic and Wegovy drug prices used by weight loss. That's all I'm saying this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we await that CPI number and get to trading today, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was AZZ Corp. You did give us a look at the stock during your earnings report rundown. They did report earnings of $1.46 per share. That was well above analyst estimates of $1.30. The company reported revenue of $413.21 million, ahead of analyst estimates of $402.05 million. Now, Bill, you were looking for a specific entry price on this one, aiming for around 74.60. That was pretty spot on. There's some movement up during the day, a little pop after earnings yesterday. Did I give it away? How did the call work out?
That worked out great. I mean, listen, the stock opened up at $75.42. And remember, I was at 74.60. And when it opened up 75.42, I just kind of, the air deflated in my lungs. I was like, oh man, but then it fell. It fell all the way down to 74.30. There was the opportunity because I was thinking 74.60, got in 74.52 and just ran it. And next thing you know, it hit a high of 76.51, which is really where it closed at the day. So, you're looking at, 74.50 all the way up to 76.50. That's, greater than 1%. So AZZ, Apple Zebra, that was a winner. Very happy with it yesterday, Emily.
A nice win there, Bill. Another check in the win column, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Pfizer pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow to end your trading week with NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.